Hi, I'm Emily Cotter.
Hi, I'm July Moss. Today we're excited to talk to you about our final project at Manchester Coats, Chatable. So, what is Chatable? Chatable is a chatbot developed as an online youth mental health first aider. Why youth mental health first aid is important? Mental health illness is common in adolescence. 10% of young people will experience depression, and 50% of all anxiety disorders begin before age 11. It interferes with the ability to study, work, and to have satisfying relationships in the rest of their lives. So youth mental health first aid is all about early intervention, because the earlier that someone can get treatment, the better the outcome. However, mental health illness can be hard to talk about. We want to create a safe space for young people to talk and to seek for supports. It plays a mental health first aider role to fill the gap between professional support and young people and to encourage them to seek for professional medical help.
Chatable aims to have a non-judgmental conversation with young users and encourages them to get the appropriate professional help. It offers users hopeful and positive encouragement through the custom inspirational quotes that change at different times of the day, along with the colour scheme for the app, and through chatting with the bot. It offers users help by providing the relevant self-care and professional support information based on their needs. It points users in the direction of support from charities and organisations. It provides diagnosis and treatment information from the NHS, membership services for self-care recommendations, and it can respond to life-saving questions so that the bot can detect when the user might have suicidal or self-harm intent. We wanted our colour palette to be bright and welcoming for our young users. We have modelled the colours off different times of the day, and they will change at different intervals throughout the day. So we've got a sunrise, an afternoon and an evening colour palette, and these are changed using a helper function. This is what our application looks like on the desktop. As well as the colour palette, the message at the top and the quote underneath will change at different intervals throughout the day. And when you log on to the app, you will see that it welcomes you with a friendly greeting, and this is to encourage users to talk about their feelings openly. So if I type "I am feeling sad," the bot will respond to that negative emotion and offer support. Let's talk. And again, it encourages users to openly talk about their feelings. So if I were to ask, where can I get help? The bot will then offer a number of organisations where the user can get help and support. You can ask about all of them or just one. In this case, I'm going to ask just about one. It provides a card with the logo of the organisation, a brief description, and a link that the user can click and go through to the organisation's website. If I want to find out more information about other organisations, I can ask the bot. And then in this case, I'm just going to say I'd like information on all of them. And here it provides the cards for all of the organisations that it mentioned above. It will respond to expression of gratitude as well. And if you want to get medical support, you can say, where can I get a diagnosis? And it will provide a card that points users to the NHS website. The bot can also register users' information, so if I were to say, do you have any mental health self-care programs? And it will ask the user if they'd like to register to receive daily recommendations. So if I type in my name, and a test email, It will then thank the user themselves for subscribing to the daily mental health self-care recommendations. It will also account for some spelling mistakes. So if I ask, are there any other organisations again? If I put child line, it will recognise that and still point the user in the right direction. And as mentioned earlier, the bot will respond to a user expression of intent to harm. So if they say something like, my life is meaningless, if you reply yes, it will offer the user the National Suicide Helpline Prevention number, and it will offer them useful information about when that's open, and will encourage them to get support from there.
Let's deconstructing our chatbot. For human, conversation is natural. We fundamentally understand it, but try to teach a machine to have conversation is difficult. This is where we need natural language understanding and processing tools to help us translate natural language into computer language, and vice versa. For this project, we chose to use MERN-Stack and Google's Dialogflow to build the conversational interface by providing a natural language understanding engine to process and understand what our users are looking for. MERN-Stack stands for MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js. The benefit of MERN is that the whole thing will be done using just JavaScript and JSON. We only need to use one programming language and understand the JSON document structure. To build out Chatbot, we need a front-end app, back-end app, and Dialogflow. Front-end app is where we get the input from the user. The input from user will be sent to the back-end app. Back-end app forward it to Dialogflow. Dialogflow parses the string and sends back the response. We could technically connect front-end app and Dialogflow directly, but for the scalability purpose, we want to do sentiment analysis in the future, so we need to connect a database to our backend app.
We use a number of different tools to plan and carry out our project. We use Lucid Charts, Marvel and Canva for the structure, UI design and asset design. We use Trello as a task log. We use Axios to make HTTP requests to the API. We use Google Meet and Slack to carry out regular stand-ups and share real-time updates. We use VS Code for mob programming, and we use Git and GitHub for branch work.
So, our backend app consists of 4 main parts: Dialogflow agent training, API configurations, text and event query routes, and database connection. There are actually many brands offer machine learning services on their AI platforms. The reason why we chose Dialogflow is because it has very easy user interface, excellent documentation, good product tutorials from Google, and it is free for small projects like ours. For Dialogflow agent training, based on the conversation experience we want our users to have, we divided into 3 main intents: negative feeling expression, asking for help, detecting self-harming intention. So our bot is able to respond to negative feeling expression, to offer hope, and to provide relevant support information based on the user's questions. It can also offer help where it detected self-harming intention from the user.
Our components can be found in a source file, and then there are different folders for different components. We've got the app, which has the home, the header and the footer within it. The home page, which has the greeting, the custom greeting that appears at the top as a graphic, and the positive quote, which appears underneath the chatbot. Then we have the chatbot itself, which has a component and the card, which is what the bot provides when the user asks for help or organisations that can help them. and the message component, which both fed into the chatbot. We also have a file for helper functions. We just have the one which we created to use across different components when certain items need to be rendered at different times of the day and different styling needs to be applied at different times of the day.
I'm going to go through the code in our chatbot component. In our chatbot component, we use Axios to send two post requests, text query and event query, to our backend app. We also use effect and useRef to manage our event query and to enable the message auto screws. We also used use state hook to manage two sets of states we have. One is current message, which is the input from the user only, and the second one is responses, which is an array of objects that stores all the messages from both user and the bot that we want to render in the browser. Each response in the responses array has same data structure, like this. For example, this is the response from the bot, and this is the single message from our user. So when our user types something in the chatbot panel, it will trigger handle message change to set current message, and after the user press enter key, it will trigger handle submit function. In the handle submit function, single message will be pushed into the responses array, and the current message, which is the input from the user, got sent as argument to the text query function to get the response from the backend. And then current message got reset to empty string. All responses got passed into the render responses function, and responses get mapped. Each response got passed into the render one response function, and this is where we decide which subcomponent we're going to render. If we receive text object from the backend, we'll pass the information as prop into message component and render the message component. If we receive payload object, which is card message, we'll pass all the cards information into render cards function. Cards information get mapped, and each card information get passed into card component as prop, and then for this time we're going to render the card component.
If we had more time, we would have carried out more testing. We would have liked the user registration to feed through to the backend and be stored there. We would have liked a feature for users to have a feeling journal, and we would have used this to train the bot and make it more sophisticated in its responses. We also would have liked to have had more intents and entities within Dialogflow to train the bot further. Thank you for watching our presentation. We provided our GitHub usernames here, and we just want to say a big thank you to everybody at Manchester Codes for providing us with the knowledge and the support to build this app.